Hey everyone, here is a hopefully brief video about our gender infographic assignment. It is due this Friday, July 12th by 11:59 p.m. And so I'm hoping that by going over sort of every aspect of this project, you have a clear sense of what needs to happen, and also hopefully you're a bit excited about the possibilities proffered by this particular assignment. So to start with, this gender infographic is actually comprised of sort of two assignments. The first is the actual infographic that should be about an international issue related to gender and or sexuality. The second component that I'll talk about in a bit is a two-page reflection about the infographic in which you tell me about the process of making it, and you also draw out clear connections between your topic, your infographic, and what we've read in the course so far in the past 5 weeks, I suppose. So for the infographic, I am asking you to conduct a bit of research on the issue, and also to think about a specific audience that you're trying to reach. So perhaps it is the general public and you're trying to raise awareness. Perhaps it's a specific subset within the general public and you're actually trying to motivate that subset of the population to take some sort of action about your topic. So again, you'll be thinking about the topic itself, you'll be thinking about your audience, and sort of the purpose, what you want to have happen. So here are some examples of international topics. These are intentionally very broad because I want you to feel as though you have the freedom to explore a specific area within these larger topics. So for instance, you could look at access to healthcare for women or gender minorities. You could look at access to reproductive care, to maternal care, access to education for women and gender minorities around the world. You might also look at avenues to political participation for women and gender minorities. So you could explore the gender makeup of various bodies of government in various countries around the world, perhaps as a place to start. You can look at other measures of gender equality, so statistics on gender-based violence globally, the economic prospects of women, any statistics you can find there. And then finally, you can look at specific efforts or movements that are led by women and gender minorities around the world that advocate on behalf of a particular issue. So this could be an issue like any of the ones that we've already talked about up here. It could be also something, thinking transnationally, like labor movements to end climate change, things like that. You can also think about your own area of intellectual interest as a way to select a topic. So for instance, last semester, I had a student who was really interested in architecture. That was her major. And so her infographic was about barriers to entry within the field of architecture for women. And so she looked at various tests and assessments that are required in order to gain entry to schools of architecture. She looked at just statistics generally of the gender makeup of those who attain the highest echelon of architecture. And her entire project was thus kind of recast through the lens of a topic that she herself was really passionate about. So if you're perhaps like a computer science major, you can also think about looking at barriers to entry for women in the STEM field. That's a really important topic right now globally. So if that helps, you might think about your own major, your own area of interest. And I guarantee there's a way that you can kind of look through the lens of gender, through the lens of feminism, through the lens of transnational feminism, and come up with a topic that way. So I have a few exemplars to share with you. You can download them here. I'll pull up one right now and drag it so you can see it. So this is something that was produced by a student last semester, and her topic, as you can see, was lack of women in the workforce in MENA, which is Middle East and North Africa. She's actually from this region, so I think her perspective was especially interesting because this was a topic that was really close to her heart and to her experience. And so what makes this an exemplar is not only that this infographic is kind of visually pleasing, it's easy to kind of read, there's clearly a flow to it. It's an important topic that's clearly related to women and gender studies. But then also I really appreciated that she took a critical stance. So kind of at the bottom of her infographic, here she's tackling stereotypes of women in the Middle East and North Africa kind of head on. And she says, here are the facts, forget the stereotypes. So here, for instance, she notes that the World Bank suggests that there are actually more women enrolled in university in the region than there are men, right? That kind of goes against what many in the West think. So again, I'm bringing this up because I think it's really easy when we're looking at global issues to kind of fall into stereotypes, and to fall into kind of easy ways of thinking of like, these women are oppressed, we women in the West are not. And I think when we kind of delve a little bit more deeply, when we problematize that notion, then we just produce better scholarship that is more well-rounded, that is more accurate as well. So again, whatever your topic, I encourage you to try to delve maybe a little bit beneath sort of the shocking statistics, and to remember that there are plenty of problems as well in the West that we can also think about. So in addition to all these beautiful graphics and this really striking layout, this student also has references, which is again required because this is a light research project. So moving down, I want to talk a little bit about the rubric here. It's all here for you to see. Please, of course, let me know if you have any questions about it, but I'm looking for a relevance of the issue. It should be clearly communicated how this is relevant to women's and gender studies and sexuality studies as well. Another criterion is quality of research. So I'm looking for at least 3 reliable sources on your chosen issue. All right, and these should come from beyond our course. And we might look to big international organizations like the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum. These are big, giant groups that produce a lot of reports, collect a lot of data. So those might be good kind of starting places here. But again, at least 3 reliable sources. Those should either be cited on your infographic or in an attached page. And then I'm looking for aesthetic appeal. How easy is it to kind of consume the information that you've created on your infographic? And then finally, that second component, the reflection. Again, this is 500 words. Tell me about your decision-making process. Tell me about your rationale behind your design. Tell me about the research that you conducted, how it relates to our class. And crucially, please also connect your topic to at least 2 to 3 readings from our course. So anything we've read in the last 5 weeks. Then the final criterion is global awareness. And this is really the ACE9 language, just kind of lifted directly from the ACE9 rubric. And so at the exemplary level, I'm looking for any project that analyzes in depth the impact of global variation on a significant issue. This language is very broad, and I'm pretty confident that in creating a high quality product, you should also kind of hit this ACE9 requirement in the process. So that's the rubric. This is the assignment description. Here are some exemplars. Now, maybe some of us are wondering a little bit about how we might get started on creating an infographic if it's something that we've never done before. And so to that, if you check out our week 5 modules, here they are. Here are our readings. We still have that extra credit assignment, by the way, if you'd like to complete that sometime this week. And then right below our assignments, we have some resources here on infographics. So what I've done here is just I've included hyperlinks to 2 pretty easy to use and intuitive platforms to create infographics. I also have examples of kind of what a finished infographic should look like. I'm going to show you just briefly what Canva looks like. This is the platform I've used. It's free, it's pretty easy to use, and I have most experience with that. So when you get to Canva, you can actually sign up for a free account. That's kind of required, which is, a bummer, but you can actually just use your email address. You don't have to give any other information, which is cool. And then you'll be brought to this page, which says design anything, and you can just type in whatever you're looking for. So in this case, infographic. And then what comes up is just kind of an array of different types of templates. And these are loading here currently. My internet connection sometimes isn't the best. But whenever they come up, you can select one and begin to edit it. Okay, so here are all of the templates you can choose from for the infographic. And some of them, as you kind of hover over them, you'll notice this little free bubble, and you're, of course, welcome to use those. Anything that doesn't have the free bubble, you can still technically use. The difference is that when you go to save it, it will actually be saved with a giant Canva watermark, which is sometimes kind of annoying. But again, choice is up to you. So you can choose a template, just click on it. And then through using these tools on the left, kind of adding different elements, changing up the background, even uploading your own pictures if you want to, and using this kind of text box and like the formatting features that are here, you can choose any of these topics, any of these templates, I should say, and then kind of make them about your particular topic. So you can title your infographic whatever you feel is appropriate. You can click around and kind of change elements as you need to, etc. And if you find that you don't have enough room in this kind of one panel, there's a little button that you can't see right now. It's kind of directly below this image. It says add a new page. And voila, you have a second page, and you can kind of build some elements here if you want to continue working on it. All right, so there are those resources for you as well. Yeah, and again, I'm hopeful that this is a fun project. And for those of you who are really seasoned at designing things digitally, super cool. For those of us who haven't done a whole lot of that, I'm confident that this is a pretty easy first project for you to kind of dip your toes into. So please, of course, if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I look forward to reviewing your projects after Friday.